Hey guys, it's Cauliflower. Welcome back to my channel. And as you can tell from the title, today I am going to be discussing some topics that are related to depression. This is a continuation of my depression series, which I started on my channel a few years ago. And it's been a long time since I've done any more further extensions of that. And I really thought that it would be maybe beneficial to some of you out there if I continued that. So I just wanted to throw on a quick disclaimer. I myself suffer from depression. I myself am not a clinical anything, not a psychologist or psychiatrist or clinician or anything in the medical field. All opinions expressed in this video are purely my opinions, and some also from sources that I found on the web of depression. These are just general opinions or general suggestions. So I just want to put that out there before I start this video. Thank you and enjoy watching. Hey guys, it's Cauliflower. Welcome back to my channel. I know you've been welcomed already, but I'm officially welcoming you to today's video, which is going to be part of my depression series. If you're not familiar with my depression series, I can leave you guys a link in the cards, or it will be down in the description box. I started this a few years ago just because I have always dealt with depression, and there were a lot of things that I felt I wanted to talk about, like a peer-to-peer instead of somebody that's just giving you general advice or telling you how to deal with it, when I myself am still dealing with it. But today is a little bit more structured than normal because I did find a article on the web about the 10 reasons, actually it's the 8 reasons why people don't go for mental health. So I decided to incorporate that into a video where it's not only the reasons why people don't get it, but it's why some people don't get better. Saying, oh, people just don't want to get better, and that's not exactly what this video is stating. It's basically why some people feel they can't get better, or it's difficult to get better because of all of these obstacles that this particular article hit upon. And I'm going to go through them, and I also added 2 of my own, so I do have notes. But the actual article was the top 8 reasons why people don't get mental health. So we're going to go through them one by one. This might be a 2-part video. This might be the actual list, and then there's going to be another part where we talk about how to ail that. Some suggestions that the website made and some suggestions I can make. Just putting some information out there, hoping some people find it helpful, etc., etc. So with no further ado, let's get to the first reason. And these are in no particular order. The first reason why people don't want to get mental health is because they have fear and shame. So basically what that would entail is people don't want to get it because they feel they're afraid to ask for help, or they're embarrassed and ashamed to talk about their problems. And also the stigmas, which I will get to that because that's also on this list. But I'm going to focus on mainly, I'm afraid to ask for help. And by the way, in all of these, I have specifically also dealt with personally. So none of these are me talking out of my neck, just stating opinions like, oh, how would you know, Cauliflower? You don't, you have never experienced this. I've experienced every single thing on this list. So as far as fear and shame is concerned, when it comes down to talking about your problems or admitting that you even have problems, yeah, it is a difficult thing to do because as a person, you want to feel that you're capable or that you are just functioning. And sometimes with depression, with anything of this magnitude, it's hard to even function. So having to tell that to another human being that you're having a hard time functioning or doing normal daily things, to you might seem like a big ordeal, but to them, it's normal practice. And there's also the fear aspect of it, of feeling that you're going to be judged or that people are going to look at you differently because you're finally saying, I need help. And I definitely can understand why someone would feel that way. You almost feel like you're just somebody that looks different, somebody that is shaped differently because this is something you're dealing with. So that's number one. Number two is lack of insight. And lack of insight is basically thinking, nothing's wrong with me. I'm having a bad patch. It's really nothing that serious. I don't really need to get the help. If I'm sick, then I'll go for help, but I don't think I'm sick, and all of that kind of an insight. Oh, and there's always my friends and family are worrying about me for no reason. I'm fine. See, this one is a hard one because I feel like it has to do more about your inner ego, so to speak. And that's how you feel about yourself in general. If you see yourself as somebody who's capable and confident and there's no issues, then you might struggle with this. You might say to yourself, well, I don't know what everybody is grappling about because honestly, I think I'm fine. This also could be seen as denial, which is not just a river in Egypt. It is something that is also a very huge part of recovery in any aspect, especially if you're dealing with an addiction, which I will touch upon probably throughout the series, not so much in this one, but addiction is a big reason why some people don't think they have a problem to begin with. But it doesn't even have to be addiction. It could just be you don't think you have a problem. You think maybe you're just feeling sad or just having a hard day or somebody pissed you off at work, and why do you need to go and talk to somebody about it? So that's lack of insight. Number three, one of my personal favorites, is limited awareness. Things really aren't that bad. Everyone has issues. Generalizing it for just, oh, well, I'm not the only one that's having, a bad run. Everybody has problems. The world is going through so many things and there's so much stuff. Like, why do my problems matter? It's really not that big of a deal. And it does kind of tie into with lack of insight as far as like what you're not really looking at really deeply within. You're kind of generalizing it. You're kind of just saying like, oh, everybody has issues, everybody has problems, and blowing it off and just putting it to the side. And unfortunately, when you do something like that, it can come back to bite you. And again, like I said, I will have a separate part with this video where I will give you some suggestions on some of the things that I have done and that you can do in general, if this is something that you feel you say. All right, moving on to number 4. Yes, limited awareness. Number 4, feelings of inadequacy, failure. One of my personal issues was feeling of inadequacy. That once again, if I am not really dealing as well as I thought I was, that there is something really to the point that I'm doing that makes me so inadequate that I'm nothing but a failure. I hear this a lot. I hear failure a lot. I hear I'm a loser, just throwing it out there about how self-deprecating we can really become to ourselves when we feel that we don't have a grip on life. And I don't understand why it happens when who does? I know that people walk down the street or they watch something on TV or they see someone out in their neighborhood and they look at them and they go, wow, why can't my life be like so-and-so? Why can't I be as together as so-and-so? And it's such a fallacy because we're looking at it from a very skewed perception. Instead of saying, why can't I be so-and-so? Why don't we say, why can't I be me doing what I want to do? And unfortunately, in society, we find ourselves comparing ourselves to everything, whether it's in the media, whether it's in the public eye, whether it's in our jobs, whether it's at our schools, or just, in our communities. We're constantly comparing ourselves or constantly wanting somehow to be different than what we are because we're not happy with status quo. And believe you me, I have had that so much in my life. And yeah, Part of me still does. Or I feel that the more I try to do, the more I'm trying to get across, I feel so inadequate because maybe I'm just not getting the point because I'm not saying XYZ. And this one is going to be a real hard one for me to throw out there about how to quench that, because I still struggle with it. But I'm going to give you a couple of examples that were here. And by the way, this is a article written by David Susman, PhD. I will put that link at the bottom here and in the description as well. So as far as feelings of inadequacy, I hate to admit my flaws and shortcomings. Asking for help means I'm inadequate or a loser. And I have to pause about this because this is something that I struggle with. This is one of my particular triggers, coming from another individual and coming from myself. I'm a loser. Why do we consider ourselves a loser because we're struggling in life? What makes us think that we are so prepared with everything that's going to come at us? Why do we think we have all this armor when we're born into the world? Did we come with a handbook? Did we come with something that says, in case of this, do this? No. So why do we think that we are so powerful in the realm of, well, if I'm not handling this, if I'm not doing this, then I'm just a loser because other people seem to be doing it better than me? And that is such a skewed perception. But again, like I said, I'm not going to go on to my personal opinions too much until the second half of this video, so let's move on. The next one is distrust, which is another very common reason why people don't get mental health or seek help or even feel like they can get better, because there's not trust there. And distrust means it's hard to trust someone with my deepest, darkest secrets, or to vent out all of my demons to somebody who do I, how do I know they're not going to tell other people? Again, I don't have this particular struggle because for me, I would rather tell a stranger than tell somebody I know, who I think and I know may or may not judge me, but I won't take that shot. I would rather... Oh gosh, I'm laughing because there's a squirrel staring at me right now, so they're judging me. I don't know if you could see him, but there he is. Hi! Are you judging me? Anyway. With distrust comes basically saying, well, I don't trust people in general, so I'm not going to confide my deepest, darkest secrets to them. I don't want anyone to know that I'm even doing this to begin with. Which again can tie into the shame mechanism of it, feeling like if I go into treatment and I'm trusting somebody with all of these deep, dark secrets, well, I don't want the rest of the world to even know I'm in treatment, because how embarrassing and how shameful. And again, I believe that the first step into actually going into having therapy of any kind, whether you do it in a group, whether you do it one-on-one, whether you do it with a psychologist, psychiatrist, peer group, what have you, is you have to trust. At least give it a shot to give some trust to that situation, because if you don't, then this is what's going to hold you back. It's going to hold you back because you'll always feel like you've been burned or people are going to judge you. And distrust is a huge, huge, huge reason why people don't get therapy. And yes, I have had that myself as well. So let's move on to the next one, which is hopelessness. Nothing is going to work. Nothing will ever help me. I've already gone down the road of therapy. I've gone down the road of medication. I've done XYZ and nothing has ever helped me. I've messed up before, so I might as well just give up. That's it, done. Again, I have had this as well up until recently, where there were so many different people that I felt that I've gone over and told my issues to in the therapy realm. And it's like having to start all over again feels like having to go back and rewrite something that you are just dreading having to get through. But you know that you need to do it in order to get to the next step. So if you look at it from the perspective of, instead of being hopeless and saying, it's going to fail, no one's able to ever help me because I'm helpless, as hard as it is to really, really make yourself believe that you're worthy of any type of help, of any type of aid, you've got to put yourself in that fake it till you make it. And it's hard to do. And again, some examples of this are, I've tried treatment and it didn't help. I've messed up before, so I might as well just give up. My last treatment was horrible and made me worse. That's me over here. I have said that so many times. Oh my God, how incompetent they were. So that means the the majority is now incompetent because this one person just didn't mesh with me well. So they must all be this way. And I have had that personal situations many, many times. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And the next one is unavailability. There are no therapists or treatment programs near me. There are very limited in my area. I don't know how to find a therapist or treatment program. And again, yes, this is another very hard issue to go through, because I know for a lot of you have complained that there isn't anything available in your area, or it's too far away, or you may not have the proper insurance, or it's too expensive, or what have you. To this I say, I have gone and said all of these things. And I'm not saying that these are just excuses, because I know for a lot of people they're not. So let me be very clear that I'm not stating that you're making an excuse and you just don't want to get help. That's a generalization that I won't state. While this is very accurate and very valid, I will say that we are very fortunate to live in the time of digital, where it's not only that you are now succumbed to, you must find it somewhere in your area, in your community, or else it doesn't exist. That is not the case any longer. And I found this out a year ago when I went on the internet and I was looking for something, anything that I could join or do that would aid me in some way, shape, or form. And fortunately for me, I did. And I've spoken about this before on my channel. I found a website called supportgroupcentral.com, which I also have in the description in my box down below, and another website called Hey Peers. And both of these were so pivotal into just opening my eyes to, there are other forms of therapy, that it's not always the traditional having to go and sit on someone's couch or sit in someone's office and have them take notes and prescribe A, B, C. These were actual other people also who are also dealing with or suffering with or going through, even the ones that are professionals, the same things. And I found a comfort in that. There were so many different types of groups, support groups you could go, you can attend. And of course, they were all online because, of course, while we were dealing with COVID and, the pandemic, of course, you couldn't make these physical meetings, which I didn't even know existed. So thank God for the internet. And that's what I'm saying. There is always something. It may not be exactly what you want today, but it can fit into that for the moment. Just like finding a good, how do I even put this comparison? Finding a good movie, finding a good book. You have to go through so many duds. You have to go through so many disappointments. You have to research. And if it's your health, which I want to specify and stress how important mental is, sometimes even more than physical, because if your mental isn't working, neither is your physical. Your physical is going to fail along with it. Trust me, I know this. Why not put that time into it by looking and looking? Because it is there. It is there, I assure you. And a lot of it is not about not about just medication or insurance policies or insurance companies or paying even out of pocket. A lot of these are free resources, and a lot of these are people just like yourself. And if it's not in a group situation that you feel comfortable in, there's always peer-to-peer, which is something I found so helpful and so just enlightening, because it is not people that are going to sit there and tell you what they think you have and prescribe medication to you. These are just people that are there to listen, that are there to converse with you, and that are there to help you in other tactful ways, tactical ways that will get you through. And my whole suggestion on this level of, oh, I can't find it in my area, or it doesn't exist, or I can't pay for this, or I don't have insurance, at least this is an option. And I will go further into that option in my second half of this video. Let's move on to the next one, which is practical barriers. Once again, talking about don't have transportation, can't get childcare during appointments, can't afford to pay for treatment, I'm too busy and I don't have time. I'm just going to state this: I'm too busy, I don't have time, that I don't even take that. I don't take that as a reason. I will never take that as a reason, because if you are suffering with something physically, if you have a cold or a flu, or you've got measles, or you've got, I mean, I'm going extreme here, but if you are not feeling physically well, you can't work. You can't take care of your kids. You can't do the things that you're capable of doing on a daily basis if you don't go to a doctor, if you don't get it treated, correct? If you don't go to a pharmacy, if you don't take an aspirin, if you don't do something to aid that. Why are we always saying we're too busy, don't have time to take care of one of the most pivotal, important things that help you function in the first place, and that's your mental health? You don't have time, but yet you have time to force yourself to go to work, force yourself to go to school, force yourself to pretend that everything's okay so you can get through, because you need to do this, because you need to make money, or you need to survive. And while I get all of that, I do, but in the long run, you won't be able to hold down a job. You won't be able to take care of those kids. You won't be able to even make a meal if you don't make the time for your mental health. And now we're coming to the two that I added on into this wonderful list, 9 and 10, which is stigma and discrimination. Another very valid reason why people don't get mental health is because they're afraid of what they're going to be seen as, or labeled as, or called, or treated as once they do have therapy, or if they have a diagnosis, or if they choose to go on medication, what that's going to mean to other people in their families, other people outside of their, of their social life, people just at work or at school. What are they going to think of me, and how are they going to look at me, and how are they going to treat me, and will I be discriminated against because now I have a mental illness that doesn't allow me to do everything that normal people do? And again, this is so valid, because of course it does. There are certain people out there that these things do force limitations, but unfortunately we all have that with physical as well. Some people can't physically do certain things because of their physical limitations. That doesn't disown them from being able to live a productive life. It just limits them to certain things they can and cannot do. And again, when it comes to therapy, the word therapy itself means to help, to aid, to structure. It is not to take away completely. And that's what we need to focus on. As far as judgments, as far as people, the way they think, the way they see you, you can't help that. That's something that we can't do anything about, unfortunately, is how people are going to think or what they do. Or everybody has their own issues. Everybody, I don't care who you are. From the biggest celebrity to the most popular TikTok star, I don't care who you are. You have issues. You are dealing or grappling with some kind of a demon. You are also going through something that, if you are out there doing this like I am right now, if you're putting your life out there in social media, you are up for scrutiny, you are up for judgment, you are up for commentary, you are up for opinions, and everybody has them. And yes, these are valid reasons why certain people say, oh, this is why I don't. This is why I'm not going to go and get the help, because I'm going to be labeled XYZ. And you know what? If that was the case about everything, none of us would do anything. I personally wouldn't do anything. I can tell you for a fact I understand this. And that's why I added it on, because I do get the whole stigma, discrimination. And again, we will get into what ails that, or what can ail that. And then number 10, and this is important because I personally have an issue with this. This is right along with the I don't have time. It's making excuses or not prioritizing. Not prioritizing your mental health is such a dangerous thing. It's not even funny. And I speak from experience because I've done it myself. Whenever I would put it off, or I would talk my way out of it, or I would make excuses why I can't or won't, just like everything else we have scratched the surface on in this video, as far as like, oh, well, there's no time, or this person didn't help me properly, or I don't trust. And it's all lumped into making excuses and finding reasons to talk your way out of things. And this is why we have the problems we have to begin with. Because I know for me, I put off so much in my life. I've put off so many things for either other people or just because I don't want to deal with it. And we're human. We don't always want to go in and have to talk about what happened in our past. And we don't always want to go in and talk about who hurt us or how we didn't react to a thing or a situation very well, and then having to become accountable. I believe you me, I know how hard that is. Where we always have to listen to what other people have to say in realm of what we're doing and what we're not doing. And if we could take it and look at it from a non-judgmental point of view of saying this is just taking things in stride and putting them in little boxes and dealing with them one at a time, so it becomes a lot more culpable in the long run. And again, the not prioritizing, the not putting your mental and physical at that top tier is so frustrating. It's frustrating for me as a person to listen to it from another person. It's frustrating for myself sometimes when I'm listening to myself saying, I don't need to do that this week, or I really don't feel like doing that this week, or I'm not going to do that. And knowing that it's going to come to bite me in the ass later. It's going to get to me. So these are just some general reasons. And again, I appreciate Dr. Susmans' article because I wanted to open up this video. My first way of wanting to do this video was the excuses. This entire video is going to be about nothing but excuses, but I think it's a lot more, it's a lot more therapeutic and a lot more structural, to not just say, okay, these are just excuses and insert opinion here, but these are general reasons and general valid reasons. But even if, because they're valid reasons, doesn't mean that there isn't a solution, that there isn't something that will be able to be there if we open ourselves up to it. And that's another one I know is hard to do, is to open yourself up to the possibility of getting better. Isn't that what we all strive for? We all say, why can't I be better? I want to be better. I don't want this to bring me down. I want to be able to be, whatever the goal is. Whatever the goal is, I want to be better at work. I want to be able to have a better life. I want to be able to get married. I want to be able to have kids. I want to be able to raise my kids. I want to be better for my kids. There's so many better reasons than the excuses or the generalizations that we have that deter us from getting better and from getting therapy. So I'm going to end this part of the video here and give you all an opportunity to kind of just sit with it for a little bit. I hope it was helpful, and stay tuned for part 2.